Hello YouTube, so let's do a what do I recommend video. Because I figured let's just do something for fun, like let's compare these guys in terms of recommendations. What do these guys have on each other in terms of like how good of vacuums are they? So I've got a little sheet of paper here that I rank their stuff on. And the rankings do depend on stuff. Like, it depends on their, how useful do their features come in. And, so this is kind of like my opinion. And it's like, here's what I have. It's like, how useful do their features come in, and how efficient do those features or whatever I'm talking about do. So let's start with this. Heads up on the sheet, my writing might not be spelled right or is not written neatly, but please bear with me on this. So in terms of performance, the Kirby has an 8, the Sanitaire has a 9. Because in my tests, both of these guys do great with flour and sand under the carpet test, but the Sanitaire is a bit ahead on the Kirby in terms of sand in the carpet test. So the Sanitaire takes the win for performance, but only by 1. Filtration. The Kirby gets a 9, the Sanitaire gets a 6. And the reason why the Sanitaire gets a 6 is that, first off, the seals are pretty bad on the Sanitaire. I'm sorry, but the Sanitaire seals are pretty bad. It leaks regular dust if the bag is full enough. So, and the filter bags are usually not as good as like a Kirby. So the Kirby has a really good sealed system, so the Kirby takes the cake in terms of a sealed system for filtration by 3. In terms of repair, the Kirby gets a 7, the Sanitaire gets a 10. And the reason why the Sanitaire gets a 10 is that it's real easy to take apart. Like, if you take off that hood on a Sanitaire, you could easily repair anything in the unit. Like, it's just that simple. With the Kirby, it depends on what you're trying to repair. If you're trying to like replace a motor in it, you would have to like take everything out of there. Like the tech drive, the housing over the motor, everything. And I'm not talking about the housing that's on the Kirby right now. I'm talking about the housing underneath the motor house. Like the headlight housing. You have to take that off. And so the Kirby gets a 7 for repair. Sanitaire gets a 10 for repair. In terms of weight, the Sanitaire was lighter, so the Sanitaire, but it's still kind of heavy. The Sanitaire gets a 4. The Kirby gets a 2. And the reason for that is that the Kirby weighs in at like 23 pounds. And honestly, I could care less for this subject. But I know a lot of people out there don't like the weight of either of these, but mostly the Kirby. And the Kirby was like 23 pounds when I weighed it on the scale behind it. And the Sanitaire was like 19.5 with the cord wrapped on it, but without the cord it was like 16. So the Sanitaire gets a 4 for weight, and the Kirby has 2. In terms of being durable and how long it lasts, both of these get a 10. And the reason for that is because they both last a long time. Like, you can find Kirby's from like as old as dual Sanitronic 80 or 50 or older, and those are pretty old. In terms of, and the reason why the Sanitaire gets a 10 is you might not find as many vintage Sanitaires around, but I give Sanitaire credit for the beating they take. I've seen what Carpet Classic cleaners do with them, and it's amazing that they still run from like 2004 or or even older. There was even still a 3 amp sanitaire that the vacuum center guy found, a 3 amp sanitaire used by that company, and was still running. It was like, oh jeez. So sanitaires can take a beating for many years, take it like a vacuum should, and the Kirby can last a really long time. And in terms of use, the Kirby gets a 7, the Sanitaire gets a 6. Now, you guys might find this one a little fishy, but the reason why I give the ease of use terms to the Kirby is because it's got that tech drive. When you're using the Kirby like vacuum carpeting, the tech drive makes it much easier to push. So the Kirby right here gets a 7, Sanitaire gets a 6. It is hard to push, I am not gonna lie. It can be a nightmare sometimes if it's humid out and on commercial grade carpet. But in terms of with the ease of use of sanitaires, they're not really that hard to use. And Kirby's aren't really that hard to use either. Both of these vacuums, you really just need to take a learning curve with them, and once you take the learning curve, either one of these will be like a piece of cake to use. And in terms of headlights, the Kirby gets a fresh 10 points for the headlight, the Sanitaire gets 4. And the reason why I give the Sanitaire a 4 is because you cannot find headlights on Sanitaires commonly nowadays. You know, it takes some effort to look for a Sanitaire with a headlight. Whereas the Kirbys, they've always had headlights, and they do light up pretty good. And in terms of attachments, I think you guys know which one's taking the cake here. The Kirby gets a 49 score for attachments, and the Kirby Avalir gets an extra 57. Kirby Avalir gets 57 points for attachments because it has its mopper. But for other Kirbys, it gets a 49. Whereas the Sanitaire over here gets 0. Now for features, the Kirby gets a 10 because the Kirby is loaded with features. And the Sanitaire gets a 5, but this specific SC889A gets a 7 because it has a 2-speed motor, but average Sanitaires are going to get a 5. And then their total points. The Kirby, normal Kirbys get 112 points, but if you take in consideration to the Avalir gets 120 points. The Sanitaire SC889A gets 54 points, but if you take it in consideration with this specific 889A gets 56, regular Sanitaires get 54. So that is quite a shocking difference. The Kirby seems to be beating the Sanitaire by a lot. But before your, Sanitaire fans, before your heads explode, I did do something else. I decided to do another ranking with numbers on the side. You notice there's 45 and 43 on the side. Those are points that I totaled up if you take out the light, the attachments, the features, and if you take out just those 3 points, the Sanitaire gets 43, and the Sanitaire gets 45. The Kirby gets 43. So in terms of qualities that a commercial vacuum needs, the Sanitaire gets 45 points, the Kirby gets 43. So the Sanitaire actually makes a better commercial vacuum than the Kirby does. And that is due to the fact that the Sanitaire as a unit itself is actually better efficient for carpets. Just carpets alone. But if you take into consideration but for a homeowner, if you're looking for attachments or attachments or what was I else looking for? Headlights or any all those fancy features, you're going to be looking at the Kirby, because the Kirby beats the Sanitaire by a long shot. But in terms of commercial use, the Sanitaire takes the cake, and I'll also put these vacuums totals in the description below. So I guess the winner is the Kirby for this specific one, but however, the vacuum you need really depends on your type of situation. If you're looking for a commercial vacuum, a good commercial vacuum for like vacuuming like commercial carpeting or anything like that, go for the Sanitaire. Because the Sanitaire is a better commercial vacuum than a Kirby is. But for home use, the Kirby takes the cake. Because I doubt the people using... I doubt any Kirby people at a building or anything like that is going to use a Kirby. And the Sanitaire, you know, while it may leak, you can still get paper bags for it and it'll filter just fine. And that's why I put a 6 for filtration on the Sanitaire, because while it may not filter perfectly with a bag setup, it will still filter out a decent amount of dust. So the Kirby beats the Sanitaire by a long shot if you include all of these facts. But if you only include performance up to use, the Sanitaire is going to win, because the Sanitaire is built more for commercial use. The Kirby's more of a household. So, anyways, I hoped that you found this fascinating or something. Maybe I'll get my cat in a shot. You see, his name is Bandit. I don't know if you could see him that well. I tried to put him in a shot as much as I could. So anyways, I hope you like this. If you like the demos I do, or the vacuums I have, please consider subscribing. If you like the video, or if you like this video, please put a like on there, and stay tuned for more.